Hello everybody and welcome to the third and fourth playoff of the YGO World Championships 2014 here in Rimini, Italy. Now our third and fourth is Niccoló Mazzoleni versus Oliver Tomajko.
Yep.
And you've already seen both of these players play if you've been watching earlier. So they are playing Bujin over on Niccoló's side, and over with Oliver he's playing Infernity.
I think it really didn't end so well for Niccoló last time around.
No.
And his deck was kind of fighting against him in the end. But he's got a shot here to redeem himself,
yeah,
and get one last win at this World Championship and take third place.
But of course they are all getting a really nice trophy and prize cards.
They certainly are.
They are going to be taking home, I believe it's Da Vinci's flying machine.
Yes.
Yes, it is, although it's...
Or a Silver Sky ship.
Yeah, that one is. It's based off of Da Vinci's flying machine, which is a very famous sketch by Da Vinci, where he essentially invented the helicopter before the helicopter was even conceived.
Pretty much a genius, that guy.
Yeah, well, kind of by definition. Yeah. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting match to say the least.
Yes.
I mean, we've seen both of these players just play with their hearts out, and it looks like Oliver, of course, losing to
Sahabi. Well, it's the Infernity mirror
basically.
match. Sometimes you can't do anything.
Yeah.
In that particular matchup, it's probably the last one that you want to see in the semifinal. Well, you don't want to see it at all, but you definitely don't want to see it in the knockout round of the competition, especially this close to the end.
Yeah.
And that must have been absolutely heartbreaking for those two.
Which does also mean that later we have Infernity versus Artifact Traptrix as the final match.
It would be very interesting.
Very interesting.
This one, though, Mazzoleni has a lot of cards that could give Tomajko trouble if he gets a chance to set them up. With a full complement of Vanity's Emptiness in his main deck, Fiendish Chain, all the Kaiser Colosseums, and triple Effect Veiler, it's pretty clear that Mazzoleni was ready for this matchup.
Yeah.
And we'll see if his deck comes through for him this time around.
I think the reason why we're not seeing so many Infernity as much as we thought we would was because everybody thought everybody else was going to be playing Infernity.
So I should beat it instead?
Yeah, basically. I'm going to play against Infernity, and it turns out that most people weren't playing Infernity.
Sometimes it works out like that. I think for me, like if I was playing in this, I wouldn't want the added pressure of having to know so many intricate combos to be able to execute them flawlessly under this amount of pressure.
Yeah.
I like to play something that gives me a little less of a mental tax. Like, just a little bit less, though. But Sylvans. I can play Sylvans. Infernity is a step too far for me.
It's probably why we see no Spellbook.
There's that. Well, there was the one Spellbook player.
Was there?
There was, but he did not make it to day 2.
Because that deck is crazy to play.
A lot of searching.
Definitely. You
There comes a point when I don't like shuffling anymore.
No.
And it's when I play Spellbooks.
Yeah. As we said yesterday, it's when your hands start to bleed.
Yep.
That's when you need to pick up a new deck. And as you said, new sleeves. New sleeves. But everybody, we've not mentioned the sleeves today.
No, it's true.
Look at the World Championship sleeves that they're playing with.
I believe players can get them here, can't they? At the shop we've done at the event.
Yes.
I remember hearing that it was possible to do so.
Yeah.
So anybody who wanted to take some home, either, you could use them, or you could just keep them as a memento of the event. That is all possible.
They are beautiful sleeves.
Looks like we're... And let's go ahead and introduce our players.
Yeah.
Niccoló Mazzoleni, Italia.
Oliver Tomajko, United States of America.
Alright, and here we are at the field. And it looks like we are just about ready to go. We're discussing who's going to go first. Interesting method of choosing. This is the Para and Docs method. They used it on the TV show when the Pharaoh was attempting to deceive Para and Docs to get them to reveal which door was the correct one out of the labyrinth.
Yeah.
And he succeeded in doing so.
I believe that was also our head judge. That was our head judge.
That was our head judge.
Well, Martina.
I wonder if she's a classic series fan.
She must be. Everybody's a classic series fan.
You'd be shocked.
Really?
There's at least one person in the office who's never seen the classic series.
Well, that doesn't mean they're not a fan.
And
I'm sure if they saw it.
We keep trying to fix that, but she's never around. Tomajko starting things off with a pair of face-down cards.
No, they're not quite started yet by the look of it.
Oh,
to his hand.
Actually, they're just starting right now.
And here they go.
Drawing the opening hand. Sure look like face-down cards, so it's important to keep clear communication with your opponent of what all the cards are. Especially if you like to set down your hand on the playmat, so nobody thinks they're actually set cards. Had that issue in the last match.
Oh, here we go. We're getting some information.
Alright.
And Niccoló is going first, and he has a Kaiser Coliseum.
Not bad. He doesn't have a whole lot of anything to go with it. Nothing that can stand up to an 1800 attack monster, or even a 1700 attack monster.
No,
You've got to crash with the hair.
Now, unfortunately, Oliver has that.
He's got the Space Typhoon, but Niccoló does have the Effect Veiler in his hand, and Tomajko has opened up with 4 monsters. That is absolutely devastating. Mystical Space Typhoon takes out the Kaiser Coliseum right away. Dinotherium is special summoned. Greffer also summoned. And he discards Archfiend Eris.
It's all kicking off.
All kicking off, and now Niccoló has to decide whether he's going to use his Effect Veiler right now, or on an Xyz monster to come, or on an Archfiend when that invariably gets summoned.
Infernity is incredibly consistent. Like, I've not seen it where it's not really kicked off, and even if it hasn't, it just waits a couple of turns and then it does.
That's one of the risks you play, or you take when you play a combo deck, is the chance that your own deck will defeat you.
Yeah.
And you just won't be given the cards you need to operate. That Dinotherium is a real godsend for Oliver here, because it let him get a second summon on the field in a hand that otherwise was devoid of all special summoning. Now, considering still whether or not to activate the Veiler. If you've got the Effect Veiler in this situation, you kind of have to guess at what your opponent has in their hand.
Or what they're about to do.
From our vantage point, we see that Oliver has 2 monsters, and he's already used his normal summon for the turn.
Lava Loud Chain.
Crucial here for Tomajko, he needs to choose the correct effect for Lava Well Chain, and he goes to send to the graveyard. The card he sends is Infernity Archfiend. Now he has the Necromancer in his hand, and the Street Patrol loaded up as well, but he's got that other Greffer in his hand that he still needs a way to get rid of. No way to get the Greffer out from now.
Infernity Archfiend always reminds me of Zolga. Very similar art though.
That's not a connection I would have made. Maybe in another life Infernity Archfiend was Zolga. And Mikazuchi was Chaz Princeton. Quick attack from Tomajko. Ends the turn.
Nice little poke with the chain.
Yep, you gotta get the hair off the field, even though it does put it into the graveyard where it's effectively useful. It's that, or let it be used for an Xyz summon.
And there's the Yamato. It's a shame for Niccoló that Mystical Space Typhoon was there.
It is, but he still has the Effect Veiler, and I think he very wisely is saving it for the Archfiend.
Yeah.
Or for the Necromancer that would get back the Archfiend. So be careful though, if you're going to use Effect Veiler against Infernity Necromancer, you better be able to take it out that turn.
Yeah.
Yamato Arasuda deciding which one to throw down. The best he can really get out of the Yamato if he attacks is to crash with the Lava Valve Chain. And that could be good enough because it'll stop Oliver. Oh, that's right. Forgot about the hair there for a second. The hair protects Yamato. Crashes with Chain, and Yamato stays on the field. Not a bad turn at all for Niccoló.
It always makes me laugh thinking about what actually happens when you remove hair to protect something. Just throwing a rabbit in front of you to stop an attack.
Maybe it's like Like you put on a bunny hood and suddenly you're super fast, you can dodge anything.
Maybe. Either that or it just confuses the enemy so much that they stop their attack.
Hirume is added to the hand, and Quillen is sent to the graveyard. Quillen can be banished to destroy a face-up card, if you have a Beast Warrior Bujin. Tomajko's picked up an Infernity Archfiend, and now he's in business. You can use the Grepher's ability to put the Archfiend in the graveyard, and then special summon out Necromancer with Stygian Street Patrol, or you can do it the other way around. Send Necromancer to the graveyard, and special summon out Infernity Archfiend. Either way, it all starts with Dark Grepher. And he sends Infernity Archfiend to the graveyard to try to send another Dark Monster to the graveyard. This resolves. Second Street Patrol. And it is quickly banished to special summon the Infernity Necromancer. With no cards in hand, Infernity Necromancer's ability to revive monsters is active, but is negated by Effect Failure. And things are not looking good for Tomajko at this point, with 2 Archfiends in the graveyard and the threat of Susanoo wiping his entire field very real.
And looking at it, it's something that can happen.
He's still got a lot of life points and a bunch of soul charges left in his deck, though, along with Infernity Launcher. So there are actually a pretty good number of outs for Oliver. Just depends on how aggressive Niccoló decides to get. He's got the Quillen in the graveyard, so he doesn't even need to attack to get rid of Necromancer if he doesn't want to. Looks like he wants to, though. Picking up a Crane this turn. And at this point, you're maybe thinking, well, if I can make Susanoo right now, that lets me get any Bujin from my deck to the hand or graveyard. So I could spend a pair of Quillens, or one Quillen in this case because the Necromancer is in defense position, to just inflict as much damage as I possibly can, and reduce the chance of a massive soul charge play later on.
Nope, and there goes the Quillen.
Banishes the Quillen. Because he banished, he special summons Arasuda, and that's going to let him make his Xyz summon without using the Yamato. Excellent play from Niccoló this time.
Attaches.
Attaching Arasuda. To go get another Bujin Hirume, and he'll special summon that as well. You can only control one, doesn't mean you can't control multiples over a different span of time, as long as only one's there.
Yeah.
And this represents a lot of damage. Necromancer's destroyed. Grepher's destroyed. He keeps the Crane.
Yamato and Hirume straight into his face.
4,200 left. Now, with Susanoo at 4,800, he could have had an extra 3,100 damage there.
Yeah.
And with that damage, Oliver would have been reduced. I believe it put him down into, no, not quite into cowboy range, but into the range where
it would be very costly for him to
difficult
play
to soul
charge, yeah.
It's not 3,100 additional damage, it's 3,100 damage total instead of 7.
As you said, Oliver has nothing on the field and nothing in hand. He would need to top that soul charge. And we're seeing another Xyz summon right here, which is going to be...
Yep. There's Rhapsody and Berserk. And he's going to use both materials there to try to cut off the soul charge play. He didn't get him down to low enough life points, so instead he's going to take out the targets.
I believe that was 2 Archfiends he removed there.
And now Susanoo is at 30.
That's it.
Oliver picks up Infernity Barrier, and that is it for the turn. Or for the game,
yeah.
With no cards left, Tomajko's forced to concede. And Niccoló Mazzoleni goes up 1-0 in the battle for third.
No, it's kind of a shame that he didn't get a hand like that during his game.
Yeah, he's probably thinking that to himself right now.
Yeah.
But if you start thinking that way, you lose the moment, and you start making mistakes.
Yeah. Now, he's side-decking quite a lot there. And to say he took such an easy win out of that?
Well, he knows he has to go second again this time.
Yeah.
First time around, no choice. This time around, he has the choice. And we're probably going to see those Max C's coming in. Mind control, useful for another way to get the Archfiend off the field, and then hide it beneath an Xyz monster. Needle Sealing, handy. Dust Tornado, useful. Not as useful as Mystical Space Typhoon. It's still useful. When you can't run 5 Mystical Space Typhoons, you can also have Dust Tornado.
Yeah. Dimensional Prison will help.
Dimensional Prison will help as long as you get a foothold in the duel.
Soul Release?
Soul Release, very useful. We saw him bring out Rhapsody and Berserk in this previous game, and having a spell card version of it that doesn't require him to field 2 monsters could be very useful. Normally used for Lightsworn, but it has applications here as well. Only one Lightsworn deck in the entire World Championship.
That really surprised
It's
me.
Lightsworn Dragon Ruler deck.
They didn't really get hit that much by the list.
Well, they lost 2 copies of Needlebug Nest, and the problem always with Lightsworn is surviving long enough so that you can play all those gargantuan monsters, because you've got Judgment Dragon, you've got Light Ray Diablos, and you've got Dragon Rulers as well. But if you can't get a ton of cards into your graveyard, and you don't really care what they are, just put them all in there, then you might not last long enough. And that's what happened in the finals of the European Championship as well.
Yeah.
Curry Band couldn't get going, and Eugene was the winner. Quick check, making sure that everybody's side deck is still 15 cards as it was at the start.
Man, I wish I could have one of those game mats.
Apparently so do a lot of people. They won't leave you alone about it.
No. I actually checked right after this, and I got a lot of messages asking if I could get them a game mat.
See, that's the tech. I just straight out told people on television that I would not get them one.
Yeah.
And it's kept them one.
Okay, I'm not going to get you one.
There you go. Heard it here first. Did you flash up you on deck? And you also heard it here first, though I don't think you'd need any inside information or even Jarrell's Ring of Power to know that Oliver's going to go first.
Yeah.
In what could be his last duel of the 2014 World Championship.
It's funny, I've never seen him use his Ring of Power before.
Well, it's only for dire times. This is day 2 of the World Championship.
Okay, much more at stake.
I mean, he had to load up after the previous World Championship. Maybe if he had the Ring of Power, the left leg would have made it to his hand.
Maybe.
And that's one of the things that you can do. You can always reflect on the past and get ready for the future.
And that's why he got the Ring of Power together.
Now he's got it, and we are all better for this.
You know that he's getting probably very angry that we just said that. I can imagine his face.
We'll talk to him later.
No, he'll talk to us.
Alright, and we're getting one last shuffle. The shuffling procedures for day 2 are even more rigorous than day 1.
They're intense.
As we can see that even judges are getting in on all the shuffling action.
Yeah, the judges have to.
It is a kindness to the players, though, so they don't.
Archfiend and Necromancer, a Soul Charge, a Summoner Monk, and another card which I didn't catch.
Seems workable.
Maybe another. Oh, it's a Dark Hole.
Which is definitely a workable hand. There's more monsters than you like, but because you have that Summoner Monk and a couple of spells to use, this is a playable one.
Yeah. And there's a nice enough hand for that. Max C, just to make him really think about the fact whether he needs a special summon.
Monk the summon goes to defense position and activates its effect, discarding Dark Hole, and Mazzoleni has the Max C.
Now,
Tomajko's got some thinking to do.
Something I'd like to mention is the Dark Hole there, now in Ultra Rare, if you go and get the brand new Space Time Structure deck.
Oh, that's right, yeah, it's in all of them. It's in one of the power-up packs.
Yeah. If you want an even shinier Dark Hole, that's where you get it.
In the face of Max C, you kind of have to set up for the future, and he does with Dark Grepher. discarding, or sending Archfiend with the effect of Greffer. This time Mazzoleni doesn't have the effect Veiler. Tomajko's fight, even though he has to basically stop for now because he doesn't want Mazzoleni to get too many cards in hand, having the Soul Charge really helps you just in case your board gets wiped. Mazzoleni gives the okay, even though he actually couldn't do anything about it. And Oliver's off to the deck to send a dark monster to the graveyard, which is Stygian Street Patrol. That out of the way, our judge takes his turn shuffling. And Oliver ends his turn. And that Max C happened to get him just deep enough into the deck for Bujin to make an appearance.
There's also that Needle Sealing in hand.
Needle Sealing Fiendish Chain.
That's nice.
Yamato and Mikizuchi. That Max C really bought him the turn he needed. Yamato is summoned. And he moves to battle to attack Dark Greffer. Definitely the right move, attacking the Greffer instead of the Summoner Monk. Chances of Oliver having another monster in hand pretty high at this point, and he doesn't want it to be discarded to send another Stygian Street Patrol to the graveyard. If that's going to happen, Oliver will need to have monster and a spell. And in that case, the Fiendish Chain will strip him of his the effect of Summoner Monk and the spell in hand discarded as a cost.
Yeah.
You always want your Fiendish Chain to be as costly as possible to your opponent.
And there goes the hair.
In the end phase, hair is added to the hand and sent to the graveyard.
Which sets up for a Needle Sealing play.
It does. Two more monsters on Oliver's side of the field will allow him to trigger the trap. And Oliver picks up Archfiend Palabyrinth. We talked a bit about that yesterday, but we never actually saw it in action.
Now, I'm looking and that looks like an Upstart Goblin to me.
Yes, it is Upstart Goblin. My eyes deceive me. I guess if you look at Upstart Goblin in just the right way, it does look like a terrifying Demon Palace.
Yes, it does.
It's kind of terrifying in its own way, though.
A little bit. It's the greedy goblin, though, isn't it?
Yeah. Fiendish Chain is used to negate that Summoner Monk ability.
And he's lost that card draw as well. But he does have a Soul Charge, which is going to cost him quite a lot, thinking about what is going to happen.
So he's going to try not to play it, and he can't play it yet until he sets the Soul Charge. It is an illegal activation, so the play is reversed, and Oliver now must perform it the correct way. Archfiend is summoned and its effect activates.
The question is he going to wait until a possible Soul Charge, or is he going to go to Needle Sealing as soon as this comes out?
Well, he wants to see what the card is first. It's Infernity Launcher. Now that gives him a little more information about how long he should hold off on the Needle Sealing. And he's now asking Oliver to wait as he thinks after the resolution of that card.
Especially because he picked up Oliver picked up his extra deck, meaning that if he does XC summon, there's no longer going to be 4 monsters on the field.
Correct. And he's weighing his options, seeing if there will be 4 again, or if this is the one shot. He says, go for it. I know you have Launcher. You're probably going to use it later this turn, and that adds 2 more monsters to the field. Your only 2 matching monsters are the Archfiend and the Summoner Monk, so you have to leave Necromancer be for now.
Oh, it's a Diamond Direwolf.
Unfortunately for Mazzoleni, Tomajko sniffed out that Needle Sealing and destroys Diamond Direwolf and the Needle Sealing. And now he's free to do whatever he wants. Sets Infernity Launcher. And flips Soul Charge.
Interesting.
Soul Charge for 3 on Dark Grepher, Infernity Archfiend, and Stygian Street Patrol.
Now, Niccoló knows that that face-down card is going to be Infernity Launcher.
Yes.
I can bring that up for you.
That's why I kind of wonder why he played the Soul Charge first before the Launcher. Because generally you want to play the cards that your opponent knows about first, leave them with as many mysteries as possible. Model Val Chain is Xyz summoned.
Now, he can't do his battle phase this turn. And he knows what his opponent's playing. So it's very, very interesting what's happening right now. Because Niccoló has a massive option for a huge attack next turn.
The thing you gotta do, if you're Oliver in this case, is just search out as many of your traps as you possibly
Was that an
can.
Infernity Barrier?
It looked like Break.
Yeah.
So he's got Launcher face down and Break.
That could definitely stop him in his tracks.
Xyz summon with Leviair, special summon back. Stygian Street Patrol. Appears he has combined it with Infernity Archfiend for another Xyz summon. Oliver playing all 3 Lavalval Chains. Sahabi, who defeated him in the previous round, was not. Second Diamond Direwolf comes to the field and it destroys itself and the Infernity Archfiend to clear space. Archfiend and Necromancer are summoned by Infernity Launcher, and Oliver searches his deck once again. This time, it's another Infernity Archfiend, and with the Stygian Street Patrol in the graveyard, he can summon it straight from his hand. And that'll go for another search. This time for Infernity Barrier.
And there it is.
Niccoló makes a quick check to make sure he knows which set card is which, or rather in which order they were set. And Oliver makes yet another Lavalval Chain. That's his 3rd. Arching Eris sent to the graveyard, and now we have Arching Labyrinth. Maybe I was just seeing into the future. The Labyrinth is activated, and so is its effect. Rather, so is Archfiend's effect. And now we see Arching Paladin's effect. Let's go ahead and bring up Labyrinth if we can.
Sure thing.
It's a big amount of text. So you target one of your Archfiends and one of your non-fiends. And you get to banish the other one you targeted to special summon another Fiend-type monster from your deck. Or an Archfiend with the same level. And in this case, it's Infernity Archfiend.
Yeah.
Who would have guessed?
Now that's a formidable field.
It is.
And he's saying, your turn.
Barrier, Break, Labyrinth, a couple of 2300 Archfiends, a couple of 1800 Chains, and an 1800 Leviair. Huge. I was thinking back to the last game when the Lavalval Chain was destroyed in battle. This time Oliver still has one left.
He has 2 Infernity breaks, an Infernity barrier. 3 Infernity breaks and an Infernity barrier.
He's got the full setup here. And despite how good it looked like things were going a little earlier for Mazzoleni, not so much now. And the really great thing about the way Oliver has it set up is that he's got 2 face-up attack position Infernity monsters. So even if the Quillen were to be activated to get rid of one of them, there'd still be another one there, and he could save his Infernity barrier for later.
Thinking what order he can do in. It's a shame that Infernity break is there.
Very tough situation. But if Mazzoleni can, he wants to try to win this one and not have to go to another game. It's not the worst thing if you do, though, as he's heavily sided for things like this. He would get the first move in the last duel. Mazzoleni starts off with Bujin Mikazuchi. Oliver takes a quick check to see what its powers are. This is a tough situation. He's probably pondering, should I attack first and try to go after both Archfiends? Should I attack and try to take out the Xyz monsters? Should I use the Quillen first to take out one of the Archfiends and then do everything I can to get rid of the other one? But none of that helps with all of the Infernity breaks around.
Now, sorry, was he attacking the Levier there?
He seems to have opted to attack the Levier.
Which is a smart move, because he can't really attack any of the Archfiends.
And the Levier is the most pressing threat in terms of starting up another combo next turn, because Oliver has a couple of monsters that can perform more special summons banished. Necromancer's out there, and I believe a Stygian Street Patrol is out there as well. And you don't want him getting back to level 4, summoning another rank 4, and grabbing a monster to special summon with the Street Patrol. Infernity Break is activated. And he targets his Infernity Launcher, and it seems the attacker as well. Hair is used, and a second break is chained, targeting the same launcher. You can do that, it's just your first one will not resolve as its graveyard target is gone. But in this case, Oliver could safely target both since the second one wasn't going to resolve successfully anyways. And now Yamato is in a bit of a spot. Third Infernity Break is activated, and there's nothing else to be done to save Yamato. But Bujin Carnation is lurking in Mazzoleni's hand.
There is also that Infernity barrier.
Yep, barrier wasn't used though. Oliver played his cards very smartly. And he quickly uses the barrier.
I do believe he has more than 8,000 attack on the field.
Activation of Bujin Carnation is negated, so Pot of Duality does work, and he really needs to see Dark Hole right now. Unfortunately,
Oh, and that cuts Coliseum far too late.
Dark Hole is nowhere in his deck list, not even in the side deck.
Really?
Yes.
That surprises me.
And he's not even going to make the decision, he's just going to scoop it up. Next two cards weren't going to do a whole lot of good either, and we're going to a third duel in our third place match. This time, though, Niccoló is going to be able to go first, and he has all of that main deck Infernity hate, in addition to the cards he's been siding in. Any one of Vanity's Emptiness or Fiendish Chain, or his limited trap cards, Solemn, Bottomless, and Torrential Tribute. Any trap card, basically, is what Mazzoleni wants to see here. Possibly more than one. Other than that, though, it's pretty much the first time we've seen the Infernity deck do what it wants to do.
Yeah, this is the best.
It's interesting to see that it happened even in the face of Max C. Max C bought Mazzoleni the turn, but he couldn't do enough with it to stop Oliver from just coming back and playing out all of the Infernity combos.
It's a shame for Niccoló, because if Oliver hadn't been able to get out all of his Infernity breaks and the Infernity barrier, then it was a clear, I'm going to get out as Susanoo, just attack all of your guys with a crane.
That's where the Palabyrinth comes in handy, though. It's a lot harder to get to all three breaks and barrier if you don't have Palabyrinth in your deck.
Yeah. It just gives you that option. Something else I said yesterday, 7 files.
That's how you know it's serious.
Yeah. Especially when you're then turning those files into smaller files.
Oliver's really hoping for maybe a few less monster cards this time around.
Really looking for the distribution
in both games. Plays 17 monsters total. It's about average, I think, for Infernity. 16 is the number I usually see. And it's good that he has the very diversified special summoning core. As Savavi had 2 Dinotherium and a Tin Goldfish, and he wasn't playing Photon Thrasher. I actually really like the Thrasher. I think in a lot of situations it is better to have multiple ways you can special summon on the first turn. But I also see where Sabi's coming from, not necessarily putting it all on the first turn.
I mean, Photon Thrasher is just always it's a nice play because it's a level 4, you can get out of rank 4, and with so many good rank 4s, a turn 1 XE summon is invaluable.
Absolutely, and being able to have reinforcement of the army in your deck as well, which you already have for your other warriors.
Just giving it another target.
Yeah, giving yourself the option to search for a special summon, like an actual legit special summon.
Yeah.
With the reinforcement of the army you already play is huge. Mazzoleni, no surprise there, has decided to go first. And he takes a look at his hand, which has plenty of cards.
Oh, that's not a massively good hand for Oliver there.
It's got plenty of cards to stop Oliver, but not a whole lot to actually win the game with, between a pair of Effect Veilers, Maxi, and Kaiser Coliseum. But this turn he gets to see 8 cards instead of 5, because Pot of Duality is going to reveal 2 trap cards and a Pot of Duality. You can't feel bad about having Torrential Tribute or Fiendish Chain here, though.
No.
You just also don't feel very good because you can't start winning the game. You're just preventing yourself from losing.
It's
a very difficult choice.
Yeah.
And he takes the Duality over Torrential and Fiendish Chain. He figures, well, I've got enough cards to stop this already in my hand. What I need to do is dig for Bujins. And I'll do that next turn, because I'm pretty sure Oliver's not getting all his combos this time.
Well, Oliver's definitely not getting his combos this time. He has not a great hand.
Instant Fusion, Infernity Launcher, Infernity Break, Dark Hole, and Labyrinth. That's not going to get you anywhere. You need at least one monster.
Dark Hole is going to clear the field, but wow.
Through the field of what?
Nothing. A standstill of a bad hand by the look of it. And there's a solemn warning.
He takes the opportunity to set the warning, and he saves the pot of duality for now. He isn't pressed to dig through his deck any deeper because Oliver simply passed his turn. Shuffles up 3 cards and sets them face down.
And that looks like it's probably going to be Infernity Break. Solemn warning, Dark Hole.
Mazzoleni now has double Valor, double Max C, and now he uses his pot of duality, finding Tenki, Hirume, and Turtle. Tenki is the obvious choice here, and now he's going to be in a very good position.
Oliver has no response, so he's going to be able to get a Yamato to hand.
And he's going to be able to load up the hair as well.
Unfortunately, I think that there's one.
Oh, he's got Solemn Warning, yes.
There's the Solemn Warning.
That was his 6th card for the turn. Very fortunate for Oliver that he had that Solemn Warning at the time. Otherwise, things could go very south very fast. Oliver's up, and he's got another spell. This time it's Mystical Space Typhoon, and he sets it. Mazzoleni barely looks at his next draw before setting it straight to his spell and trap card zone.
It's Fiendish Chain.
The Yugi move. Saw that with Fiend Sanctuary in the Battle City finals. Oliver finally picks up a monster, and it's Archfiend Eris. The Labyrinth is up next, boosting her up to 1500. The early offense is good, and if Eris is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, he gets a search for and Archfiend. The second Tenki comes off the top of the deck for Mazzoleni, but Mystical Space Typhoon puts a stop to that.
No searches for Mazzoleni.
And he's still stuck on 2 Maxi to effect failure. This looks like a game where Archfiend Eris might have a chance to take out all 8,000 life points the way it's going. Oliver knows it too, and he's getting in every point of damage he can. Instant Fusion, Necromancer, and Infernity Launcher in hand. Kaiser Coliseum.
Unfortunately, no monster to use it with.
He's a bunch of pairs in his hand. He's seen 2 Kaisers this turn. No, Kaiser's last game. 2 effect failure, 2 Max C, Kaiser Coliseum. As Archfiend plinks away 1,500 points at a time. And Mazzoleni's stuck on nothing but face down cards. The rate this match is going, I'd be shocked if we see 4 monsters on the field at all in the entirety of it. I don't think Needle Ceiling is going to be resolving.
Not at all. It's just chipping away with Archfiend.
And Oliver's got a pretty good hunch that he hasn't got Torrential Tribute because it was sent back from Pot of Duality. And it's not often that the cards you sent back come back again.
Now Fiendish Chain.
At this point, though, Mazzoleni says Archfiend Eris is far too strong. And he uses Fiendish Chain to lock it down.
Now there still is an instant fusion there, so the Fiendish Chain isn't that worrying, because you could get a nice XE summon out of this.
So I believe Oliver plays a level 3 fusion monster. Or does he? Now he's got Camion Wizard, and that is his only fusion monster in the extra deck. He's not playing the Fusionist that many people have put into their extra deck. Now, I guess he used that extra spot for a second time in Direwolf, which actually really served him well in the last duel.
There's a funny story about Fusionist. There was a friend of mine that went back when extra decks was called the Fusion deck, and you could have as many in there as you wanted. The only way that you were allowed to play a fusion deck is if you had Fusionist in there, because that made your fusions work. There was no logic in that. But then again, there's no logic in the materials that make Fusionist.
now it seems like Mazzoleni's finally come up with a monster to go with his double Kaiser Coliseum. And it is Bujin Crane. He does not attack, though.
Oh, Dark Hole. That's been flipped.
Dark Hole's activated. That takes Crane off the field. That disables the Kaiser Coliseums, and it is a card effect, so he gets to search for Archfiend Eris for that Infernity Archfiend.
There's also the Photon Thrasher there as well.
Dark Hole coming up huge, and he's able to special summon that Photon Thrasher now that he has no monsters. Trap Stun is activated. This is one of the defining features of Tomajko's deck, is the Trap Stuns to prevent interference. Thrasher is special summoned.
He also runs very little traps as well.
Instant Fusion activated. Maxi is chained. Camion Wizard comes out. And here is the question. In this, the final duel of the 3rd and 4th place game, will Oliver Tomajko take the Maxi challenge? He's got a clear shot to life points. He has Trap Stun resolved.
And he could win.
He's got 3,500 life points left to take out. I'm thinking, well, the double effect failure is going to make it difficult, because what Oliver would want to do is summon Lavaval Chain and get Stygian Street Patrol into the graveyard. In this case, he goes ahead and normal summons the Infernity Archfiend. If he makes an Xyz summon here, he should have it.
And he's looking to do it.
18 and 18 would be enough. 36. The needle sealing's not really going to do a whole lot.
No.
Xyz summon
Goes.
Taking a look at Cane Gorgon just in case something happens. Also, it is among the biggest monsters in his extra deck, if not the biggest. Cane Gorgon is summoned.
He drew into Bujin Carnation.
Mazzoleni draws. Effect Veiler is used. He's doing everything he can to try to convince Tomajko not to just rush him and end the duel right now.
Yeah, there's nothing that he can do.
Activating Effect Veiler at the end of the main phase. See what Tomajko will do.
In fact, looking at it, Infernity Archfiend is on 2,300 attack.
2,300 attack. There's really nothing Mazzoleni can do here, but he's desperately trying to convince the duelists from the United States that he has plenty of options.
Let's just have a look and see what they're looking at then.
Cane Gorgon, looking to see how exactly its effect works. You gotta do everything at this point to try to prolong the duel and make Tomajko think about his next move. Got a quick cameo from the official card database. You can find it under the gameplay section on our website.
So he's using the effect to stop Effect Failure?
Looks like he's using it to shift the effect of Effect Failure over to Infernity Archfiend.
Yeah.
And we see that Cane Gorgon is not a once per turn effect. And in this case, we see the second failure.
And he is not going to bother, and he's going to attack.
2,300 from Archfiend.
And that's the game.
2450 does it. And that's it. Niccoló Mazzoleni draws all of the Infernity hate, none of the Bujin monsters. And Oliver Tomajko takes a duel. He steals one here in game 3.
It's funny because
with a hand where just about nothing was going right at first, and he had to deal the first 4,500 damage with a boosted Archfiend Eris.
Yeah, it's like Niccoló got all of the hate for it, and Oliver didn't actually get any Infernity.
And you go first, you get all these cards, and you say, just one Bujin monster. Give me a Yamato. You know, I'll take a Mikazuchi. I don't care. Give me anything. And he did not cooperate.
And when he finally got Crane, Dark Hole.
Dark Hole. I mean, if you're fighting Crane versus Eris,
Yeah, something's going
that's
wrong.
not exactly the War of the Giants.
Something is going wrong. So, we have Oliver now
Tomajko of the
third.
United States. Third place finish in the All Ages event. It was a very respectable finish for last year's Dragon Duel champion.
Yeah.
I think he had fun here this weekend. I saw him out and about. He was playing the games. I was over there, actually. We were trying out the air cannon
Yeah.
before the broadcast, and Oliver was, I wouldn't want to say he was calming his nerves, because he's never calm. He's always so pumped. He's absolutely
So
ready
excited.
for everything.
You should have seen how excited he was about his penguin trousers.
Oliver loves life, loves dueling, loves
Yes.
everything. He's
Yes.
absolutely great, and honestly, even if you're one of the older duelists, he's actually somebody to look up to. He's really a great player, great person, and all the best to him on his
Honestly.
third place finisher.
Well, Niccoló came in fourth. Can pretty much say about Niccoló. Niccoló is always something that we really struggle. Even though everybody's having fun, nobody seems to smile.
Well, it's kind of a solemn occasion. You
Yeah.
get kind of in the zone.
But even when some people win, they won't smile.
Oh yeah, but I mean,
I remember at European Championships, we were having trouble just asking somebody to smile, and as soon as we asked Niccoló, we just went yes.
when you're playing though, even after the game's over, you know, you're locked into the game. That's what you're thinking about right now. Not what's happening later, not what you have just won. It's
Yeah.
just that round, getting that victory. And you can think about it later. You got plenty of time between rounds to think about all of that.
But we also saw Niccoló actually on the way back to the hotel.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, we were all in the shuttle bus, all of us and a few of the Konami employees, and we noticed that there was just a car in front of us, and stuffed into the boot of the car was Niccoló,
What?
pressed up against the glass, just like giving us the thumbs up. So that's your fourth place winner for the World Championships. I'm sure he'll be going home in the boot again.
Niccoló Mazzoleni of Italy takes fourth place with Bujins. Oliver Tomajko of the United States takes third place with Infernity.